Good afternoon. Illy said the morning. It's the 29th of July. Everybody all right yesterday when we weren't around? It's fine. You should be getting used to it now. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 29th of July. I know that date because tomorrow is my wedding anniversary. I know. We'll don't have to clap. Right, so we're going to do the headlines and then we'll bring the guests in, shall we? We'll do that in a moment. So, young people driving Europe virus spike. Who says? Several countries are seeing a higher proportion of new cases among the young, the health body warns. Unhealthy diets, a slow motion disaster, and national food strategy calls for wider access to free school meals and warns of misleading labels. Yes, always get misled on those McDonald burgers, don't you? PC Harper widow asked PM for murder retrial. Lacey Harper asked Boris Johnson to right a despicable wrong after 3 teenagers were acquitted, and families terror after girl falls down a waterfall. 6-year-old Phoebe was washed over the top and plunged more than 100 feet, but she was okay. Airport tests, not silver bullet to save holidays. But Heathrow Airport boss says there needs to be an alternative to the cliff edge of quarantine. Oh, well, it's all happening today, isn't it? It's all happening. There's all kinds of things going on. Is the spike returning? I don't know. I'm not going to ask Ben if the spike's returning.
Well, Matt, it's great to see you again. And guess what? We're never going to know the truth because they're only ever going to publish something that's sensational because that's how media works.
It is, and it does. It's the old thing. It sells papers, doesn't it? I know it doesn't literally.
So, you know, the fact that several million people have come into contact and not had it, or that there are possible antibodies out there that we can test for, none of that will sell newspapers or get viewers on drama on TV. So we have to take, and everyone I think should take, what you hear and see with a pinch of salt.
Okay, that's all right. That's good. We'll take that. But today's not the day for that discussion.
No.
Because today is Did You See Day? That's better.
Hey.
Yeah, that's better, isn't it? We got some music and we got the lightning flashes all at the correct time. So we usually have Pete Sheriff on today on a Wednesday, but he's stuck in traffic and he's going to be joining us very soon. He didn't want to transmit from the car because he said it's dangerous.
Oh, it would be, wouldn't he? Yes, it would be.
Well, it would be, yes. I mean, he wasn't holding the phone. It's on a bracket on the thing. You know, Grant's done it in the past, so I'm sure Pete.
I've done a lot of videos Top Gear style. It's fine. Yeah,
of course it is. It's fine, and you never see the crashes afterwards, only because you're driving away from them. You never see them in the mirror.
Some muppet that rings in and says it's really not safe to do that while you're driving. Have a word with yourself, mate.
So this show is all about. It's a little break from the week. It's in the middle of the week, so it's a little break for you in your lunchtime hour, and what to watch on TV and cinema and film, because we have to call it film, not movies, don't we, Ben?
Not movies. We're England.
Well, it's movies. That's what I'm saying. So I want to go through because of the pandemic. So there's a nice link there. I want to go through the movies that have all been displaced that were supposed to be coming out and should have been out, and they've all been pushed back. So I want to go through a little bit of that later on. I was going to wait for Pete to get in, hopefully. But you want to discuss what to watch yourself because you're on holiday next week.
Like thousands, I'm sure.
Of course.
Often sitting there thinking, oh, I'd love to watch a good film, but you know, only have one or two in the radar at any given time, and they, because they're in your radar, you watch them, and then you're sitting there thinking, well, there must be some great films that we've missed in the last year or so, but in that moment you can't recall them. So I look to you and say, did you see?
Okay, well, what's your favourite film? What if you had to sit down? What's your favourite film? I know you've already said Glengarry Ross the other week.
I'm a salesman, okay, and I love business. So Glengarry, Glen Ross, Tin Men, absolutely classics when it comes to like The Wolf of Wall Street. You know, they're just brilliant business stroke sales films. But I like things like Jason Bourne. I like good action sort of suspense films. And when I'm watching with my amazing wife, we like something a bit warmer. comedy. There does seem to be a shortage of good comedy these days. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Will Ferrell. I like the what's the one with where he plays a stepdad? With
Stepdads.
no. But I love comedy. So good comedy. What can you recommend for good comedy?
Okay, well, let me just have a look on the on my system over here because I have everything here. Oh yes, we have it. So I mean, immediately, if you like, oh yeah, that's it. Yeah. So if you like Will Ferrell, where are you going? Do you have access to Netflix?
Always.
Okay, it's always with you, is it?
I'm never without access to the store of movies in the sky.
So now, don't take this the wrong way, but have you seen the Eurovision movie yet?
Do I need? Is it worth watching?
Yes, Will Ferrell's in it for a start.
Okay.
And there's a beautiful backstory to this because this came out on Netflix about 2 weeks ago, so it's fairly up to date. And it was made specifically for Netflix. But Will Ferrell is married to a Swedish lady. I don't know what her name is, but he spends a lot of time in Europe over the past 10 years. And he fell in love with the Eurovision Song Contest because he says it was cheesy and it was very camp, so which we know. And he's had this back idea of a story to write around the Eurovision Song Contest. And so he has done that. And it came out 2 weeks ago, and it is very, very funny. And also the songs in it are very, very good because what they've done, he's written his character and there's what's her name now? I was going to get the lady's character hanging. So Rachel McAdams, who's a very good comedic actress. They're two people who live in Iceland, and they form a group, and they represent Iceland in the Eurovision Song Contest, which is awesome. And so they've put a whole fake they filmed a whole fake Eurovision show on, which was based in Scotland, which is a bit silly because that means we would have won it the previous year. And of course, we haven't won it for donkey's years. Yeah. So that's a little bit, but it's a film, so the fiction is there. And then they've got the main character who's also a guy called Dan Stevens, who was in did the voice of Beauty and the Beast, and he's been in a lot of big movies over the years. But a character you recognise, British actor, but you couldn't say his name. It's him. He's been in so and so. He's one of those guys. He plays, I think it's a German group singer, and so it's just about that story of them getting to the Eurovision, and it's typical Will Ferrell. It's very corny, but it's got a lot of heart. And I say the songs are just awesome in it.
Well, that's on the list then, mate.
So Eurovision, there you go. That's that one. Let's have a look what else we've got. Now, just sticking with Will Ferrell for a second, there is a slightly more, not serious, but there's a film called Downhill. I'm not sure if it's out on any streaming services yet. It's called Downhill, and it's got Julia Louis-Dreyfus in there as well, who's from Seinfeld. And it's just about a family going on a ski trip. That's what it's called, Downhill. And that's the funny bit, but it's got a lot of serious undertones about relationships, which
they all do have, don't they? I mean, that's the great films always have undertones of. I mean, we that Daddy's Home is all about step parenting, blended families, or it's called Blended, I think, with Adam Sandler. Oh, right. And, a great film. But yeah, okay, cool. Well, they're on the list then.
And there's one more which I just need to find for you. It's a Michael Keaton film because I know you like sales.
Yeah.
And it's about the beginning of McDonald's. Have you seen that one?
Oh, and I've read that. I read the book 30 years ago. It's called. I watched it. Yeah.
Oh, you watched the film?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. All right. So that just jumped in my head.
But it's a great film. Not quite as true an account as the book, actually. But they've got to make it film-esque. Yeah,
they have to. You have to adjust it slightly to make it run better, don't they? But no, that's excellent. That is. I really enjoyed that. Those type of biopics seem to work really well, like Wolf of Wall Street, which is lightly based on the characters. Is that Wolf of Wall Street? Was that based on a book originally? Was it?
No,
was that just based on the character,
on the real life of a character? Yeah, and so they've done stuff about the Lehman Brothers. They've done films that are based around real things in like Ponzi schemes that collapse and stuff like that. So that is along those lines. But yeah, something that's got an edge to it and something that's real. So you sit there and go, my God, how did they let that happen?
Well, I mean, I can't believe it's so. I mean, those bits where he was in the stood up on the table in the office and he was shouting, "Is it hot house? Is it or something?" Or there's when he's speaking to the room and he's
boiler
really
room.
What's a boiler room?
And yeah, that happens. And if you want to generate huge energy in sales rooms, and certainly in the 80s, that is what we would do.
I can't see you stood on a desk doing that.
Why not? Stood at the front of a room, get them all going. That's what you need to do to get a sales engine going.
Not so sweary though.
No, of course not. I wash my mouth out.
Brilliant. I'll pick up some more in a second. What we're gonna move on to now is actually some movies which obviously because the pandemic has been well, it's knocked everything out regarding the regarding cinema.
Production.
Yeah, so I mean, production has started again. It's a lot. I know a lot of the Netflix is obviously paused. It's going to be like a 2 or 3 month gap of production. But when you see what's coming out next year anyway, you'll realise that because these movies and series for Netflix take a couple of years into production. Most of the stuff that's coming out this year or supposed to be this year and next year are already nailed and in the bag. That they sit on them. And of course, a lot of the big effect movies take 12, 18 months to get going after all the post-production. So we're not going to see any effect because they'll squash all the production in together and get some more stuff out there. So
yeah,
don't worry.
Also, from a marketing perspective, my world is you wouldn't want to launch them when the world's flat anyway, because you're just not going to get your return on your investment. So I'm sure they're sitting on quite a lot in the can that they're just not releasing because it isn't going to give them the return.
Well, that's very true. I mean, another film which, if you're for next week, is a film called Greyhound, which we're not quite sure if it was written made specifically for Prime. Will you have access to Amazon Prime?
Yeah, I've got access to the world of movies. I'm
just checking because a lot of people go for Netflix or Prime. Not both. It's only if you're doing quite well for yourself. But Greyhound, which stars Tom Hanks, was released about 2 weeks ago. That's very good on Amazon Prime. True story about the war and getting ships across the Atlantic.
He's done that midway.
That's right. It's that type of that story, but it's done very, very well. I feel that it was a release for cinema release, but they've popped it onto Prime. Prime banked up the money and they've popped it on there. Then we have Tenet, which we talked about and showed the trailer last week, and then I had to grovel to Warner Brothers. Well, not grovel. But they stopped the video last week, so that no one could watch a replay of this show last week, and they sent me a message and I said, look, I was talking about your movie and showing the trailer. It's what they class as fair use, and they released it, and the video after 2 days was released again. So that affected our views last week, which is a bit of a pain. But Tenet, they're sort of saying it was originally set for July the 17th. It's now internationally set for August the 26th. Hopefully that's still going to be in place, because if they keep pushing it back, it's just going to mess up the whole schedule.
Anything new in the sort of Bourne, Mission Impossible type genre?
Well, I'm going to go for the list.
One.
I'm going to. There's nothing in Bourne at the moment, but there is some stuff that's coming up early next year, which they completely scrapped this year. Also, another one that's coming up. I don't know if you know Wes Anderson. Do you know? Have you ever heard of Wes Anderson? He usually has Bill Murray in his films. He made the Fantastic Mr. Fox, which was an animation.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
He's something hotel. Oh my goodness. I'm going to shoot myself because I can't think of his the biggest film he made. Let me just have a look.
The hotel in there's a couple of hotel ones. One in Mumbai and one was the Petals, or what was it called? It's about flowers, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it's not that one. I'll tell you, it is called the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, the Budapest Hotel.
Yes, now that's a Wes Anderson film. and I love him. I think he's great. And he's got The French Dispatch, which is supposed to have been out on the March 27th, but that's been delayed. They're saying it's going to be this month, but I still can't see that because the cinemas are still not really active or open yet. So I think that's going to be a problem. That'll probably be pushed back till September. August the 28th has been set for The New Mutants, which is a new X-Men spin-off. That should have been out in April. Now, are you a Bill and Ted fan, Ben?
As in the Bogus Journeyman.
That's the ones. Big fan? Or small fan?
I mean, we're going back to the late 80s, but what a great couple of films.
Well, they've got a new one out September the 1st.
Wow.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter return in the longer-awaited sequel. I don't think it's a longer-awaited sequel because they're looking quite old. But anyway, it's a sequel to the other two Bill and Ted movies. The Kingsman. Now, The Kingsman, actually, it's called. The Kingsman, which did very well for itself on the two other franchise movies, has been delayed.
The best bit about the second one was Elton John at the end.
Yes, I suppose it was. I wasn't a big fan of the second one.
No, it wasn't as good.
No, it wasn't as good. But what they've done, because it wobbled a little bit, that second film, they've done a prequel which stars Ralph Fiennes, and it's a pre-World War One era prequel, and it shows how the Kingsman Kingsman started.
Yeah.
So they're saying that's going to be September the 18th. That should have been in July. Then the big move was the sequel to the Wonder Woman movie. I don't know if you watched that.
I've not watched Wonder Woman. She was amazing.
Well, the new one. Have you seen the new? Well, you wouldn't have seen it. You need to watch the new one, which was a couple of years back, which was just called Wonder Woman.
I watched it. It was great.
Oh, you've seen that one? Sorry.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So that kickstarted DC's because there's two camps. There's DC and Marvel.
And DC, yeah.
That's right. Well, Wonder Woman's obviously a DC. But we know Marvel has been ultra successful, made billions and billions and billions of dollars and pounds. But DC's sort of, except for Batman with Christopher Nolan and a couple of the Superman movies, it sort of had a full start. So that Wonder Woman 2 years ago really gave it a good boost and said, right, we need to make them like this. Because the problem with DC movies, they're very dark. They're always very dark and rainy. And Pete would agree with that. That was my complaint. These are comic book movies. They need to be bright and colourful. And that's what they did with Wonder Woman. And it made it very bright and colourful. So the new one, which should have been out in June this year, has now been pushed back to October the 2nd, which is a major shift, really, because it's a delay of 6 months. You know, it's quite big.
But
Wonder Woman.
You're teasing us now, Matt. Can't you tell us some that was brilliant that we missed? Because
we can do.
It might be that we can't go forward 3 months and watch these yet. So
I know, but the idea is you're supposed to, preempt all this so you get excited about these things because all this
next week.
Yeah, well, you see, when I go and look at websites for movies, I always look what's happening next year. I don't care what's coming out now. That'll be here soon. But next year, because I want to get excited about that.
Well, so I watched The Gentleman a couple of weeks ago. I love it because anything that's British Jason Statham or, that sort of film is just great because they're gritty, they're funny. And actually, to be fair, I thought that was the best I've ever seen Hugh Grant. It was just great.
Well, for a Guy Ritchie movie, because obviously, Guy Ritchie's just a genius, except for one of his movies. My dogs are going mad in the background. I don't know if you can hear them. Yes, he was brilliant in it, and I think it's sort of reinvented his career.
Well, it made him look like he could act, whereas I didn't really.
Well, yeah.
He had no really variation in his characters from Four Weddings and About a Boy and stuff like that. He all played a bit of a nice dippy guy.
Yeah, head on the side.
It was just brilliant in The Gentleman.
Well, he said he based his character on a newspaper reporter because he's had a lot of run-ins with newspapers, hasn't he? And he said that he was a particularly nasty newspaper reporter who followed him around anywhere. And he based that accent, that tone, and his mannerisms on this guy, which Okay, I'm not sure if it's flattering or not, but that also stars Matthew McConaughey as well, doesn't it?
And Farrell. But
yeah.
that's
oh yes, film. It's a particularly good film, and it's one of those films. I don't know if you find this, like with Lock, Stock, and other one. Sorry, no, my mind has gone completely today. That's ridiculous. So I mean, the stuff like Lock, Stock, you can watch over it again.
Yeah, no, you can.
It's not an issue to watch it. And Snatch was the other one. That was it.
Yeah, that's right. Layer Cake, class.
Layer Cake. Those type of movies, because they're such multi-layered, they are. Every time you watch it, you see a different perspective on the story.
So I haven't heard of a Mr. Ray Winston doing any threatening recently. Where's he been?
Well, he's in the States, isn't he? And he's done a little bit of TV. But usually with these type of guys, they have a load of movies backed up, which obviously I'm not going to go back into the list again because obviously I can tell you we don't want to go into that list. I'm just going to have a look at his projects now because he was in Cats, even though no one watched that.
Yeah.
But he's in. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go forward slightly here. Black Widow, which is penciled in for a November release. That's a Marvel movie. And he's playing a character in there. Then he's got 2 movies which are hard hitting, which are Bentley Boys and The Finger of Suspicion. Finger of Suspicion is playing a cop in that one. But The Bentley Boys is a gangster type movie, which obviously fits his character to the ground. I'm just looking. I do like his picture because his biog picture must clearly, Ben, if you want to look at that, clearly was taken years ago.
30 years ago.
It's got to be. Jeez.
I change mine every couple of years.
That's quite true. That must be about 20 years old. Sure.
Yeah.
He's born in 57.
No, he was not.
He was 1957. He was born.
Oh, was he? Okay, yeah. I suppose so. Yeah.
So that makes him 60 nearly. No, 62.
Yeah.
63.
Well, he's obviously very busy with betting adverts.
Oh, of course, yes. He's doing very well with that, isn't he? That must be a nice little payday for him.
But okay, so listen, you know what I miss? They used to make nice films and nice TV, and we grew up in an area of the Waltons. Why aren't they making the Waltons into a big screen?
Because no one wants to watch that.
Brilliant.
Who wants to watch the Walton? I didn't watch it when it was on television.
We need nice, heartwarming stories.
You'll be The Little House on the Prairie will be the next one you want.
Yeah. Well.
No.
You've
got nothing else to say there. Absolutely nothing.
Right. Because but the thing is, I think sometimes films have to be, just nice and show that love and family a bit more than just shoot me and everyone's out to blow up the world as a megalomaniac. I mean, we've got enough of them.
Well, that's true. But there's just not. I mean, there are family films. I think that's what we class as family films, those type.
Do we make enough?
Say again?
Do we make enough family films?
They don't make enough because they don't make enough money.
Young family, animation, old person, action. Surely there's a bit more space. I mean, 1 good comedy, 2 good comedies in a year. Why don't they put, more focus on that?
Because comedies are very, very difficult to make.
Yeah,
they are. I mean, if you speak to an actor, and if you speak to any straight actor, like a dramatic actor, they stay well away from comedy because it is very difficult to do. And there's only a finite number of script writers, directors, and actors who come together to make really, really funny films. And just before we came on air, I was talking about Jason Bateman, and is obviously from Arrested Development. I don't know if you've ever seen that on television, which was great, but he's in Ozark, and he plays a very, very straight character in that. But then, of course, he's got hundreds of really funny Horrible Bosses. You must have seen Horrible Bosses with Bateman in 1 and 2. That's class comedy, really good comedy. And so but when they fail, they do fail spectacularly.
Yeah, they bomb. Yeah.
So that's why they stay on.
Another one I absolutely love. There are some all-time class actors like the Michael Caines, like the Morgan Freemans, and when they come together, you've got a great film. So Now You See Me and that sort of film. Any more like that coming out?
No, those complex ones.
Yeah,
there's nothing really that's come out like that, because they're like a high profile, high concept storylines when they're an ensemble group of good actors. And then they're at the moment we've got nothing. We've had nothing in the past 6 months about that. There was supposed to be some that was supposed to be out now, but they've been delayed. But again, I've gone back and watched The Prestige, which is another Christopher Nolan film, but it's based in the Victorian times, and it's about magicians and who are trying to top each other. Great little twist at the end, really intense movie, and that's a particularly good one. If you like that strain of high concept type of movies. Something I've just literally watched 2 nights ago was it was on Prime again. It's called How to Build a Girl. Now, I thought this was going to be, don't bear with me for a second. I thought this was going to be a bit soppy, because it's from the writers of Bridget Jones' Diary, and it's about a story of a girl from Wolverhampton, which is not a great opener, isn't it? And she wants to be a writer for music magazines like NME and that type of thing. So, and she's a really good writer. So she fills in for this competition, wins the competition, gets asked to go down to London, but pretends she's not a girl. She pretends to be a guy when she wrote the script, the piece. And they brought him in and said, "Oh no, you're a girl. You can't do this." And she was only 16 as well. And they said, "Well, how have you written that?" "Well, it's just how I write in a Wolverhampton accent." And basically, it portrays her through a very early career. She's a famous. This is real life as well. Her name is Johanna Morrigan is the writer's name, the character's name, and it's based on a true story. And it turns into a piece where she gets successful because she slags people off. She doesn't do a true critique. She just writes a really evil critique all the time about everybody, and it pushes her through the magazine, and she wins awards and everything. But it's not her true self. It's not what she's about, and she sleeps around and drinks too much and does illicit substances type of thing. Why not? While you're in London, and it's a great, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, because I thought, I'll watch it because if it's new, it's made for Prime. We'll give it a go. Paddy Considine is in it as well. Who is? I'm going to show you a picture of him on screen so you can see him. I don't know if you recognise that guy. He was
yes, he's been in the stuff I've watched.
Yeah, Hot Fuzz. He was in Hot Fuzz, which I watched the other night.
They're not making any more movies, are they? Simon Pegg? No?
Yes, they are. Thank you very much. Beautifully led in. I didn't even tell you or give you a note for this. They are in a new Prime series again. Obviously, Prime have got their bank open and produced a load of stuff last year. It's called Truth Seekers. It's going to be starting in about, I think goes live in about a month's time. I think it's end of August, September time. And it's about a couple of, well, I don't want to say ghost hunters, because it's not just about ghosts. It's about aliens, and it's about the unexplained. And they've got their own YouTube channel, supposed to have, and they get followed around the camera. And it's both of them, Peg and Frost. Peg's not in it as much. It's more of a Frost vehicle, this one is.
Spinning off the success of Paul, really, because that was just wasn't it?
Well, I mean, anything they did from Spaced on Channel 4 and through the times of Hot Fuzz and the Cornetto series, as we call it. So it's Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, and The World's End. They've been ultra successful. So they've sort of come together in this, but they're not majorly buddy in it. It's more of a Frost vehicle. But that looks great. It's going to be a half an hour, 30-minute series. It's going to be 10 episodes. That'll be starting at the end of August. So that's something to look forward to. You see, it's a great time to talk about this, because we had the Comic-Con at home at the weekend, because the San Diego Comic-Con is the world
Yes.
place where they release everything. But of course, no one's allowed to get together, so they had to do Comic-Con at home. So they did all Zoom calls with everybody and panels and stuff. And Frost and Peg and the two writers of the Truth Seekers were on there. But I've got to admit, and I don't want to upset anybody, but Peg was a bit of an idiot on the panel. He just didn't come across. He just came across as if he didn't want to be there. And I thought, oh, that's what you're doing, man. Has Hollywood gone to your head? I think it has, because he's gone really scrawny as well. He may be doing a role where he's going to be looking like that.
Yeah.
But he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be doing Mission Impossible 6. That had to pause production as we went into lockdown. And he usually balks himself up for that, but he just looked a bit scrawny. So I thought, pull yourself together, man.
Oh, well, he's mate. Listen, he's
making the money.
Let's give him the benefit of the day. He could be rehearsing for a role, and not succumbed to the C plan diet.
What's the C plan diet? Please tell. Oh, I see. Okay, brilliant. I think we'll end it there.
Yeah, only word.
Yes, it's exactly what it is. So, Ben, thanks a lot for keeping me company. Pete obviously didn't even get home.
My challenge for you next week, young sir, is to find something gripping as a series that I may have missed. Given the brilliant series we touched on before, things like, I like that Tim Roth one we talked about, and obviously The Witcher hoping is coming up. So another good series like that we can get into, that's got mystique leading from episode to episode.
That's an easy fix. I could tell you now, but I'll wait. We'll wait till next week.
Okay. Well, can I just say I won't be here next week? I'm on holiday.
Oh, okay. Oh, we'll shout really loudly then. You can still watch it. You still can watch us.
I'll be wandering around battlefields in Hastings.
Okay, but I'll just let you know, I'm on my wedding anniversary. We're going to Worcester tomorrow, which my wife finds it really funny. And I've booked an Airbnb at the original, in the first one in Europe, a hydroelectrical station, which they've converted into Airbnb rooms.
And that's because you're interested in power?
Well, it's a big pond, and you look out over the pond for the balcony, and it's wedding anniversary. We
very nice.
Drink wine, sit there, one.
Yeah.
So that'll be all right, won't it?
Yeah.
Just like Hastings.
Watch a game of cricket in the cricket pitch by the river. It's a lovely city, Worcester.
Will the cricket be on?
They are playing cricket again, weather permitting.
It's supposed to be great the next 2 days as well. But anyway, let's not do the weather, because we're not the Weather Channel. Ben, thank you very much.
Happy viewing. See you soon.
See you soon. And everybody, we will see you Friday for Bullock's Business Banters at midday. See you soon. Bye-bye.